Okay, let's move on to routing our edge that we're going to use for the binding that is going to go across the top of our body. So do a little checking first, make sure I get the depth proper. I'll be cutting about 1/8 of an inch deep groove, about 1/4 of an inch tall. So I'm just going to go around the entire edge, get a nice clean cut. And this way my binding will have a good clean groove to rest. And when I do my finish sanding, it'll be nice and flush. A high quality router bit with a roller bearing is the key to not putting any kind of a burn mark on the side of your body. For the back, I'm just going to use a standard shoulder routing bit and give it a nice clean rounded edge. I typically use a sander and put quite a bit of contour in my body, but being this is a one-piece hollowed out body, I just want to put a little bit of a edge. Now that all my final cuts are done on the top, I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of 220 grit sandpaper, clean up all my edges, all of my corners, and especially in the groove that I just cut with the router for my binding to set in. I want to make sure that there's no excess pieces of wood, any small shavings that will get in the way. Now I'll use a little bit of SciGrip 16, SCI-GRIP. It's a really good acrylic cement. Anytime we're working with acrylics, we have to use something that's going to soften and bond the actual acrylic to the fibers of the wood. If we just use wood glue, it'll harden, but it'll never actually bond, and it'll separate as soon as it's dry. So take some time. I use a little bit of tape, use a few clamps, and get that glue to squeeze into my new edge as good as I can. Whenever I'm going around an inside corner, I make sure to put a couple good pieces of tape so that it doesn't shift and draw away. As our acrylic is starting to soften and bind with the wood, if we don't have a good contact, we have that chance for expansion and contraction, and it won't bond properly. So pieces of tape, wood clamps, whatever necessary just to hold that into place until we get to our final step. Now we get to hog tie her. So I'll use some twine or some trot line cord, which works really well because it's already a waxed cord and it tends to hold in place very well. But this cotton cord will work just fine. So I'm gonna wrap and put quite a bit of tension on as I go so that I can draw my binding down into the ledge.